Second thing is that it is not culture specific.
Right.
It's the structural property of how human beings interact with one another.
Right, correct. Absolutely. It's not culturally specific. It actually exists. And you're right, power does exist in any relationship, between parents and children, between partners, between friends, between nations, as you're talking about. Absolutely. And when we talk about abuse, it's abuse of that power, right? It's actually like trying to maintain control for the sake of abusing the power. And that's what we're getting into, because we're not denying that a power dynamic exists no matter what. So, yes. So let's talk a little bit about tactics. I actually would love some volunteers. So can I get 4 volunteers? Great. You want to come up here?
All right.
Yeah? Yeah?
Any more volunteers?
Maybe one more volunteer. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Her?
Yeah.
Would you volunteer?
You want to volunteer? No.
One more?
Okay, I can.
Oh yeah, right here, we have one. Please come on.
So, will you be our survivor? Oh, actually, let's talk, let me just go through these last 2 definitions really quickly, and then we'll use our volunteers. So when we talk about abuser or batterer, that's the person who's creating the power, the pattern of power and control. And when we talk about survivor, that's the person who's being subjected to. In other words, surviving the pattern of power and control. So oftentimes you hear the word victim, and being in the field, we always want to say survivor because that's the reality. You are surviving something, and we always find it to be more empowering to use that word also. So that's, but it's the same thing. In the, when you're a lawyer, you say victim, and when you're a social worker, you say survivor. So that's what it is. So who can I ask you to volunteer to be my survivor, and maybe stand right here, and maybe if you can stand over here, and you can stay where you are, and maybe move in a little bit closer. So what I'd love for you to do is just hold on to this. And so what I want to do is talk about the different tactics of abuse and maybe ask for your help to actually identify and give me examples of these tactics. So if I say one of the tactics of abuse is isolation, can you give me an example of what that looks like? What would it look like in a domestic violence or in a violent situation?
Yes. Isolation will be separating, like wife cannot talk to anybody, cannot visit her friends, her family.
Yeah.
That's isolation.
Yeah. And same thing for a child, right? That's being subjected to abuse. Asking that child to stay out of contact with other people. What about threats, intimidation, coercion? Any examples of that?
In cases where there's the power, or the power lies with the abuser, they can threaten to send the woman back to India or something if she's an immigrant, or otherwise, to not give her money, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other examples?
Threats of physical violence against a child for saying something or doing something.
Yeah, absolutely. If you disagree with me again, I will hit you. Yeah, absolute threat. And in some ways, it doesn't actually matter if the threat gets actualized or not, right? Whether the person hits the child or not, the fact that the child believes that and feels threatened by it, that's enough. Because that's enough to control that child. Any other examples of that? What about using feelings and emotions? What do we mean by that?
Like using guilt against people.
Yeah.
That if you're doing this, you're hurting your mother, or you're
Yeah.
going to hurt your sibling.
Yeah.
Or
Absolutely.
becoming a martyr.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I've done so much for you.
Yeah, absolutely. If you tell anyone that I have done this to you, I will also hurt your sister. I will also hurt your cousin. Or I will also hurt your mother. Yeah. What about using money and resources? We already heard some examples, but can people give me some examples of that? Oh, using money and resources? What is an example of that? Or the way that can look?
Heard something over there.
Did you give an example?
It said no allowance.
No allowance, yeah.
Yeah, you cannot buy this toy or whatever. Then
Yeah, yeah.
I want it.
Sure. Why not? If it feels like it's controlling that person, sure. Keeping control over the money, especially between spouses, maybe only allowing a certain amount of allowance, and then let's say checking all the receipts. You said you spent $20, but I see $21 here, out of my bank account. Where is all of that? Trying to make sure that the person feels like every single penny has to be accounted for and they're scared if they don't account for it. And I'm not talking about financial responsibility and irresponsibility as broad topics. I'm talking about the kind of control that it could have, the kind of control that can play out.
Asking too many questions about it.
Yeah. To the point where someone feels like they feel controlled. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like taking my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't do why don't have a
Yeah, not even having a checking account. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What about the idea of using other children, other family members, or even pets?
Comparing most of the time, comparing with other children, like how they're doing, and you are not doing that.
Yeah, I think to some extent that's something that everybody does and everybody goes through, But why might that be abusive? When would that be maybe abusive?
It's a controlling kind of thing, that if you keep on saying that the person X did this and person you should be doing that, then in a way you are actually kind of demeaning his self-esteem eventually. And that's a controlling kind of thing. That way you can control.
or somehow make the children feel they are less than others.
Yeah.
And by doing that, you can actually accomplish something which you need to do.
Yeah. And we've heard cases where that kind of comparison also kind of leading to the threat. All of these things are related to each other, right? To saying like, I will disown you in my family. I will disown you as my child if you can't meet this standard. Any other examples of that? Using children, other family members, or pets?
I think there's always that I'll take your children away from you.
Yeah.
I will leave and take your children.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, or similarly, taking your pets away, or you're in divorce cases where, like the husband won't give the wife the dog, or things like that. Just different ways of exerting emotional control.
Absolutely. Or threatening to split up the children if there are multiple children. If you tell anyone that this happened, I'm going to divorce and I'm going to make your brother be there and you are here. Something like that.
Remember in Chaya we talked about that if the husband has the green card, and he will refuse that I won't sponsor you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And we've seen that a lot of times.
Yes.
At Chaya and elsewhere, yeah.
In Chaya that was a very common thing.
Yeah. It was, yeah. It still is, yeah, absolutely. Or hiding the immigration papers, not knowing where those papers are. Okay. What about sexual violence? Seems pretty obvious, but just give me some examples of that.
Or rape.
Can rape happen between married people?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Any kind of forced sex, maybe forcing someone to do something that they don't want to do. Okay. Forced pornography even can happen with children as well, like making them watch something or watching something while forcing something to happen. Absolutely, all of those things can happen. Physical violence. The thing that is really important, I think, to know about physical violence is that there's a lot of other things that can happen before physical violence happens. All of these things that we're talking about, all of the threats, all of the coercion, sexual violence, emotional violence, economic abuse, all these things can happen before even something physical happens. So oftentimes we might think to ourselves like, well, my dad didn't hit me, so I guess violence isn't really happening. But I feel scared all the time, I feel threatened all the time, I have to watch every move I make. I think the thing to understand is that actually violence is happening. and that actually physically hitting someone is not necessarily the only indicator that there's a problem.
Is not an indicator, you say?
It's not the only indicator.
Oh, no indicator.
Sometimes it's just a feeling you have, that you're walking on eggshells,
Yeah.
that you don't know what to expect, that anything you do could result in disruption or chaos in a household.
And that can be defined as broadly as yelling or screaming or just general, like, so violence in a non-physical way where you're just subject to emotionally being disrupted, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's stop right here for a second and actually, Ankita has spun a little web every time we've named an example, right? So what's happening to our survivor? Trapped. What else? Helplessness. How easy is it for her to tell someone what's going on?
Not that easy to get out.
How to get out and also to tell someone. Why might she not say anything?
Embarrassment.
What else?
Fear.
Fear. People won't believe you. People won't believe her.
Or they'll say it's not that bad because if there is an actual physical abuse, then I think there's an assumption that, you can work through it.
Yeah. What else? What else do you see here?
Humiliation?
Immigration?
Humiliation.
Oh, humiliation. Yeah, both. Humiliation, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if you're compared to everyone else, right?
What about shame?
Shame? Yeah. Yeah.
Perhaps feeling like you deserve it and it's justified.
Or it's just part of your life. It's just part of the role that you play, obligation.
And what's it going to take to actually unravel this right now?
Scissors.
Right, there are some solutions that seem as simple as scissors, right? But is that real life?
But I think the analogy there
It's interesting.
is that you may have to just remove yourself from the situation, and there may not be you may think, we can fix this, but the solution may be, the healthiest thing is for the survivor to separate herself and walk away, or seek out external help from someone outside the web.
Yeah.
But I think once you're this far in, you don't see that you can get out or get help, because in your mind, this is your life. And there's no way out, because either he'll take your money or whatever the threats are. Like, you don't think you can get out.
Yeah, both of these things are true, absolutely. So to actually get to the point where you are leaving,
I'm sorry.
what needs to happen?
Thank you.
Maybe I need to have a legal work permit. I need to be on a visa that allows me to work, or I need a green card that allows me to stay. If I want to leave, and we're just talking about adults right now, right? So this is a child, what needs to happen?
Someone outside the home needs to intervene.
Or inside the home, what needs to happen?
The child is definitely more helpless.
Somebody to confide.
Yeah. Reading a child's mind.
I'm sorry, over here.
Yeah.
It says child needs somebody to confide.
Yeah, absolutely. Need somebody to confide in. Like somebody said here, need somebody to believe what she's saying.
Right.
And we're talking about, I keep saying she, and I also want to emphasize that boys are abused too, right? But we're going to say she. So, yeah, somebody needs to believe her. She needs someone to confide in. She needs to know it's an option, that this is not just her life. So let's try to unravel this. Or maybe you just drop the string.
Did I do it too tight?
No, it's perfect. I mean, this is...
And just let's drop it, yeah.
Let's drop it.
So thank you for that.
Thank you, volunteers. How did it feel to be trapped in there? Beth?
A little scary, honestly.
Yes.
You really do feel like you can't get out. And you're, like, trapped, I guess.
Other thoughts about that before we watch the film?
One comment, we recently kind of rescued a child who was in all these traps. She's none were work permit and all that. And we said, okay, she gets a shelter, we'll keep them for so long, and we'll make her economically free. I think that acted so well. We recently, in our community, we had someone who had such a relation, and then she was trying to pack her back to country. We said, no, we'll keep her here. We'll give her shelter. We'll give her economic freedom. Now, once you gave her economic freedom, actually, then after about 4 months, we allowed them to meet. I mean, 2 weeks back, they invited us for a dinner, and they seem to have reconciled very nicely.
I think the more relevant to my, and I don't want to take you guys too off track, but to speak further to this example my dad is providing of this woman in their community that they helped. So we have different viewpoints where my parents are happy that this woman has reconciled with her husband. My perspective is that domestic violence doesn't go away that easily, and this woman may very well end up in the same situation a year from now or 2 years from now. And so I hope that, their cautious optimism is warranted, but my fear is, this woman, she stayed with my parents, they helped her get a job, get out, and now she's back with the guy, and he could relapse, unless he's getting counseling, regularly and it's totally changed. So I hope that that's one of the things we can talk about today, is this concept of how cyclical this is, and how, a cure or a solution is not short-term, but long-term. So
we are kind of afraid that reconciliation so quickly is not good. That we are afraid of.
Yeah, and why might she have gone back to him?
Yeah,
That's what she knows.
he says things will be different and better, and he's not going to hit her now.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to get divorced and have the stigma of that.
Absolutely, right? So these are good reasons. There's a lot of reasons to stay, even for a child, right? There's a lot of reasons to, you have less control over your life, but there's a lot of reasons why you might think that you shouldn't, I don't want to leave my parents, I don't want to live in a foster home, I don't want CPS after me, those are people I don't know, these are people I do know.
We will get into this later, but depending on the severity of the abuse, for a child, that relationship, even that sexual relationship, might be very important. So even understanding that it's not healthy and that it's abusive is an entire process for a child. Which is a good segue if we're ready into the movie.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have if we have time, we will have an activity that will also talk about it.
छोट गप लेखुली कहीं आम घर गोटे लाइब्रेरी थिला दिने बहुत तक होता जहाँ शोबू बोली लाइब्रेरी बही आनिकी तकिया तले रखिकी पढ़ुली से भल थिला तापर एठी आसी गला थर तो कही माने मोर इंग्लिश रो तो उन्नति हलानी खाली ओडिया रो अवनति हला आउ पुणी मु मार्क करछि खाली ओडिया रो अवनति करूनी मु इंग्लिश रो भी अवनति करूछि इंग्लिश शब्द को बेले बेले कहि दोछि ए साटा को सेठी हंगेई दियो इंग्लिश को भी गडबड़ कर दोछि तन करी प्लीज फॉरगिव मी फॉर माय एंड मोर प्रथम कविताटी जाकु कहती लोकतार प्रथम लोक कहबार मु सुनिछि आई रियली डोंट नो सुनिछि से प्रथम प्रीति को लोक भूली पारती नहीं कोटी भेटिले किमिति भेटिले किमिति से देखिबा को सेटा प्राय रही जाय मने तो ए प्रथम ए कविताटी मो पई सेही पड़ी एना से मोर प्रथम कविता लिखिबा 1995 पर्यंत मिंटू कहला परी मोर कविता गोटे हो जते शब्द को शब्द जोड़ी से मु भाबुची हाँ पढ़ी शब्द को शब्द गुड़ा तो करदेली तथापि कविता ही बाहर निकला बट आई डोंट नो कहीं जे समहार गोटे कविता परी बाहरला तेणुक मुझे मुझे फिल करुच्ची कहीं ओडिया ओएस को आसे मोर प्रथम कारण है से मत मोर रूट को कनेक्ट कर एंड that's my name. So anyway, मु प्रथम कविता ऊपर टिके कहिबी कविता पढ़िबा आगु आ मु राणा नउची सेकंड पाई मु किछि समय नेदिन विज्ञान सीधा आरंभ करते सो कहली तो जतबे कविता आसिला से मोर कविता लिखा मोर मन हुए जे यू रियली हैव टू माने बहुत शब्दर माने भाषा पर बहुत दक्षता रहा दरकार कहीं अल्प भितर बहुत को एक्सप्रेस कर एंड कविताटा हूँ मो कविताटा से मोर अंतर भितर जो भावटा आसूची से जो आवेगटा को केमती फुटेबी लेखिला पर मन होता तो ठीक रंगटा आसलानी आगे तुले कि कलरटा के रंगटा मारती से बाहरुनी प्राय सब कविता मोर सेमतिका फिलिंग आसूची ए कविताटी मोर प्रथम कविता आउ तार परिवेश हूँ गोटे पुष्प उद्यान से बहुत सुंदर सुंदर फूल गच रही चंपा गोलाप ब्यूटीफुल माने बहुत सुंदर फॉरगिव मी फॉर इंग्लिश वर्ड किंतु लोक आसुचंती देखुचंती उपभोग करचंती प्रशंसा करचंती गोटे तले गोटे घास फूल रही से दड़ी हो जाऊँगी आखु कहीं देखुना तार आखिरे आखिए श्रावण से मुझे हिमानी किंतु हठात किसी गोटे जे किसी गोटे जमी केतकीर बास्ना मोर केतकीर बास्ना बहुत मन पड़े मो गाँव में रही 12 वर्ष पर्यंत केतकी जो फुटेला सारा रात एकदम महके से बास्ना से केतकी फूलर मादक परी किसी गोटे बही जा बगीचार से घास फूलर हाथ गोड़ पाद पानी प्राण बेड़ी कर गोटे मोर फर्स्ट प्रथम प्रीति कविता सी आउ गोटे कविता प्रेरणा दे बेले बेले अन्य कविता भी प्रेरणा दिए से कविताटी हूँ गोटे पुराना चलचित्र गीत नवरंगर गोटे गीत नयन से नयन नहीं मिला
नहीं मिलाओ देखत सूरत आवत लाज से
मते ए सुरटा बहुत छुए आर मादक really touches me the way the whole song has gone. So कविताटी हूँ नयनु नयनु झराई लोटक हृदय ढाली सुधा जुआर फुलक नयनु नयनु चोराई लोटक हृदय ढाली सुधा जुआर फुलक सेग गले बही चित्त चमकाई सेग गले बही चित्त चमकाई केते केतकीर मुहाद झल एमन नयन तारे झुरी झुरे एमन नयन तारे झुरी झुरे सजनी रे तारे सजनी कहारे एमन नयन तारे झुरी झुरे सजनी रे तारे सजनी कहारे डाकी पार तारे दक्षिणा पवन ऋतु पुष्पकर मासकी फगुण अबारे सजनी शरत रजनी सुधा बिंदु बिंदु चंद्रिका किरण मानिनी एमन न माने रे सही मानिनी एमन न माने रे सही घुमाने घुमुरे डाक बेसी किछि नवदिबा आशा तरुण अरुण प्रभाती तारका पहांती सपन नवदिबा आशा तरुण अरुण प्रभाती तारका पहांती सपन लोक कहती जे पहांतिया स्वप्नटा सत हुए अबारे सजनी उषा श्री लगने पुण्य तया तटे गायत्री गायन मानिनी एमन न माने रे सही गुमाने गुमुरे सेगो बहु बेसी कि जे नाम तार परस जहार कला मला मन बसंत भूतान डाकी पार तारे तरु बर अस्वस्थम अनादि अनंत चिर चिरंतन श्रावण पथे की पथिक छत्रिका नाचई की केका बिलाई चंद्रिका अबारे सजनी दरटी ओठरे शिशु दिव्यहास बड़ई की झरी झरी पारिजात सजनी रे तार सम कहीं केही तार तथापि मन मानुनी ठीक से उपमा दे पारुनी सजनी रे तार सम कहीं केही अनुपम से की जाइछंती छुई एमन नयन तारे झुरी झुरे सजनी रे तारे सजनी तारे
ना कहले कि कविता
और कविता ना भूली जाइए परा तारे झुरे तिबे मु बहुत समय ना को भी बदलुची कि नाम तारे झुरे कि नाम तार लास्ट टाइम एक्चुअली दुई रकम एंडिंग करछि वेरी सिमिलर गोटे करे कहूची जे ता सम केही काई आ गोटे एंडिंग रे मु लिखितली सजनी रे तार सम के नाही केही अनुपम से जे अनुपम जाग सॉरी मु भूली जाइछि सज ओके सेकंड एंडिंग ता होची सजनी रे तार सम केही नाही से जे अनुपम जाइछंती छुई चंपक गोलाप साते घास फूल आज मु सजनी मुहे हिनी मान बिकॉज ऑफ हिम मु हिनी मान नुए आज एमन नयन तारे छुरी छुरे सजनी रे तारे सजनी ताहारे से जे भी बोलतो ओके मोर सेकंड गीतटा हला कविता हला मोर एटा मोर फर्स्ट कविता प्रथम कविता मु लिखितली सो तेणुकरी मोर सब बेले सेटा मनरे भी थाए आ एटा हला मु जस्ट ए विज्ञानी को पठेली दी लाइन लिखितली तापरे ए दी भीतर शेष कर काहे इच्छा हला ए गीतटा ए कविताटा पढ़िबा पई ए भावटा जानेनी कि प्रेरणादाता कहीं मोर जड़े प्रेरणादाता रहा दरकार कहीं मु नुहे जे मत गोटे सब्जेक्ट देदेवे कहे जे टिकियपा यहाँ लिखि दिंतु सेटा देवदास बाबू सकिया तुम मान नुहे सो यहाँ भेट पराण बंधु को बेले बेले इच्छा हुए से जो पुराना स्टाइल सब जमी लिखुले सजनी सही कहीकि सेमती केमती लिखती बोला टिके लिखती से प्रकार आसेनी एते भल कहीं सब ओडिया तो खराब हो गलानी से जहाँ भी लिखी आपण मत सुजोग दौरान आपण सामने पढ़ा भेट पराण बंधु दिस इज माय लेटेस्ट कविता भेट जाई प्रिय सही पराण बंधु भेटी कही बुटी सही मोर परमाधु भेट जाई प्रिय सही पराण बंधु को भेटी कही बुटी सही मोर परमाधु सेगो गले दूरे छाड़ी सर्वस्व मु हराइली चली न पारई नहीं अस्थिर मन को भेट जाई प्रिय सही पराण बंधु को न देखी सखा को पास न देखी सखा को पास बैरी बढ़ाई त्रास क्षिप्र खल बलियार निरीमम विषधर अकाले लुटी नेबटी मानव जीवन धन एराई जे जेते बीरे निधन करिब हेळे एराई जे जेते बीरे निधन करिब हेळे अन्य कारे नाही आशा मात्र सखा भरसा बेगे भेट प्रिय सही पराण बंधु को भेटी कही बुटी सही मोर परमाधु को धीरा न जाओ गो डरी धाव मान अश्व अरी साई साई तीर वर्षा छकमक असी वर्षा गदा रड़ी घड़घड़ी आकाश पड़े कि छिड़ी रुचिलेणी दिनमणि गगन सरे छाऊ देख मरु तो भय न बहे जेसने गो स्तंभटीए देख मरु तो भय न बहे जेसने गो स्तंभटीए चमकी चकिते चाहे ए दारुण रण को चमकी चकित चाहे ए दारुण रण को इष्टम को मने सुमरी जाओ सखी आगे चली नखोज वीर फाल्गुनी सुविषेण दानी मानी नखोज वीर फाल्गुनी सुविषेण दानी मानी खोज से वीर चतुर प्रखर सारथी वर विश्वरजु जार कर पार्थ रथ छार खोज से वीर चतुर प्रखर सारथी वर विश्वरजु जार कर पार्थ रथ छार अदिति अश्वचालने नाही सम त्रिभुवने अदिति अश्वचालने नाही सम त्रिभुवने बंदी से पद्म पयर धीरा सधीरे पचार कि भावे चालिबी मन पवन अश्वको पचार गो प्रिय सही सारथी श्रेष्ठ को पचार गो प्रिय सही सारथी वर को अमानिया मन अश्व चालन सूत्र को पचार गो प्रिय सही सारथी श्रेष्ठ को अमानिया मन अश्व चालन सूत्र को
प्रफुल्लकर आछंती ओडिसा रो लाइफ टाइम अचीवमेंट पई आपण दीपद कथा कोंजो आपण केमिति रहिला अनुभूति
बहुत भल लागला बहुत आनंद लागला आगु आसी जोसा
आज्ञा
86 रे आसी प्रथम जीवन में अमेरिका आसिला 86 रे सर जा देखि बहुत आगे ये बहुत कथा स्पेशली इन्वायरमेंट ऑफ द ओडिया पीपल समस्ते ओडिया कल्चर को ओडिया ये आनिया पिला बड़ा समस्ते माँ भौणी समस्ते लगी ओडिया डांसकारिया देखी कभी नाच मैंने आने ये पूरा सुपर क्लास आहरी इम्प्रूव फैमिली तो देखी जाइनी जहाँ देखी कल्चर खाया पीवा होस्टिंग प्रति लोक लगी कौन किए कौन खाइला किए कौन ना वेरी वेरी नाइस very well done.
Thank you. So there is a registration team here for the informations and for welcome package. And Renu, you want to say something? How is your experience so far?
Yes, really good experiences.
Do you want to do again? Come to next convention?
Sure. Yeah. You want to come to the next one?
Do you want to do anything different? What we did?
No, I really like the way it is. Yeah. Especially it's nice to see a lot of women with different colorful saris and jewelries. That's the part I really enjoy.
How about the food?
Food is really good. This time I really like the food.
That's good. Yeah. ये ओडिशा रो आछंती अमृतार माँ सी ओडिशा रो जस्ट पहुँचले तांको पचरा हम केमती ओषा तांकर एक्सपीरियंस केमती लागिला फर्स्ट ओषा अटेंड करछंती
भल लागिला
आज्ञा
समस्त गोटे जगह देखि के बहुत भल लागला हम पिला बाहर रहिले भी कल्चर को भूली नांती
थैंक यू हमर पूरा ओसार माने मेंबर ऑर्गेनाइजर लीडर सब आपन को किछि दीपद कोंदो हमर एक्सपीरियंस ओसा ऊपर
इट्स अ ग्रेट कन्वेंशन एंड क्रेडिट गोes to our convener and the volunteers.
Thank you. आज्ञा हम आपन को पचरा होची केमती एपन तो ओसा केमती लागिला आपन को
ओसा
आज्ञा
वेरी गुड
कोन आपन सब भल लागिला
the music program and dance program, yes. Lot of volunteers did a very good job. Manpower was less, but the people who worked very, very hard.
Thank you.
Very hard. And I know Patra for a long time.
Right.
So also Sandeep Babu.
Right.
Yes.
Amalya Babu.
Yes.
Request kariye.
Kondu. Request kondu. Apna record ho.
Volunteer ji achi. Kya kya karlani. এই ଛୁଆମାନଙ୍କୁ ଟିକେ ନେଇକି ଫେରିରେ ସେମାନେ କ'ଣ ଯିବେ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଛାଡ଼
ସେଇଟା ତ ଆପଣଙ୍କର ଏବେ ଏତେ ଲୋକଙ୍କୁ ନେବା ପାଇଁ ଜଣେ ଗାଡ଼ି
ନାହିଁ 4-5 ଜଣ ନେବ 4 ଜଣ ନେବ ମ୍ୟାକ୍ସିମମ୍
କେଉଁ ଫେରି ସେଇଟା ଆପଣ
ଆସନ୍ତୁ
ନା ନା ଆପଣ କ'ଣ ଠିକ୍
ପ୍ରଶାନ୍ତ କେଉଁ ଫେରି ପ୍ରଶାନ୍ତ ଏ ଆଦିତ୍ୟ କେଉଁ ଫେରି କହିଲୁ
ଆଜ୍ଞା ଖାଇବା କେମିତି ହେଇଛି ଭଲ ହେଇଛି ଆଜି କ'ଣ ହେଇଛି ଆଜି ସବୁ ଆଜ୍ଞା ଠିକ୍ ଅଛି ଭଲ ହେଇଛି ଭଲ ଲାଗିଲା ବେଶୀ ଓଡ଼ିଆ ଖାନା ଭଲ ଲାଗୁଛି ଆଉ ଓଷା କନଭେନସନ୍ ଉପରେ କିଛି କହିବେ ଆପଣ କିଛି ଆପଣଙ୍କର ଅନୁଭୂତି ସୋ ଫାର୍
କ୍ୟାମେରା
ଆଜ୍ଞା ନାଇଁ ଅଛନ୍ତି ଆଉ ସବୁ ଆପଣ ଓଷା ବିଷୟରେ କିଛି କହିବେ ଟିକେ କ'ଣ ଆପଣଙ୍କ ଅନୁଭୂତି ଆଜ୍ଞା ନା ନା ଇଏ ଆମର ଆପଣଙ୍କ ଖାଇବାଟା କେମିତି ଲାଗୁଛି
ବହୁତ ବଢ଼ିଆ
ଭଲ ହେଇଛି
ମାନେ ପୂର୍ବର ଯେତେ ଓଷା ମୁଁ ଦେଖିଛି
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ତା ଭିତରେ ଖାଇବା ଇଜ୍ ଡିଷ୍ଟାଣ୍ଟଲି ବେଟର୍ and very wholesome. The quality of cultural functions ଗତକାଲି ଯାହା ଦେଖିଲି is also quite high.
Thank you so much.
ଯେଉଁମାନେ କରିଛନ୍ତି local chapter ସବୁ ଲୋକ ମିଶିକି the quality and the level of cultural performance turned out to be very good, very satisfying.
ଆପଣ ସାର୍ ଆସିଛନ୍ତି ରେଭେନ୍ସା କଲେଜରୁ ଆମର ଭାଇସ୍ ଚାନ୍ସେଲର ଆପଣ ଦୀପଦ କୁହନ୍ତୁ ସାର୍ ଆପଣଙ୍କ ଏକ୍ସପିରିଏନ୍ସ
ମୁଁ କ'ଣ କହିବି ମାନେ ଦିସ୍ ଇଜ୍ ଏ ଗୁଡ୍ ଗ୍ୟାଦରିଂ ଗୁଡ୍ ସୋସିଆଲ ଗ୍ୟାଦରିଂ ଇଟ୍ ଇଜ୍ ଗୁଡ୍ ସେମିନାର ଗୁଡ଼ା ଭଲ ହଉ ମାନେ ଏତେ ଭଲ ହେଇପାରିନି କିନ୍ତୁ ଫୁଡ୍ ଆରେଞ୍ଜମେଣ୍ଟ କଲଚରାଲ ପ୍ରୋଗ୍ରାମ ବହୁତ ଭଲ ହେଇଛି ସେମିନାର ପ୍ରୋଗ୍ରାମଟା ଟିକେ ମାନେ ସେମିନାର ଆଉ ଯେଉଁ କଲଚରାଲ ପ୍ରୋଗ୍ରାମ ଟିକେ ଫେଜ୍ ଆଉଟ୍ କରିବେ ଯେତେ ସେମିନାର ଚାଲିବ ସେତେବେଳେ କଲଚରାଲ ପ୍ରୋଗ୍ରାମ ଚାଲିବ
ଆଜ୍ଞା
କଲଚରାଲ ପ୍ରୋଗ୍ରାମ ସେମିନାର ଚାଲିବ
ସେଟା ଓଭରଲାପ୍ କରିବନି
ଓଭରଲାପ୍ କଲେ ଭଲ
ବହୁତ ପାର୍ଟିସିପେସନ୍ ହେବ ସେଟା ଜଷ୍ଟିଫାଏବଲ୍ ହେବ ଯିଏ ଆସୁଛନ୍ତି ଧନ୍ୟବାଦ
Seattle OSA 2012 Jindabad.
Thank you. How are you doing today? କେମିତି ଚାଲିଛି କେତେ ରେଜିଷ୍ଟ୍ରେସନ ହେଲାଣି ଜମା 2-3ଟା ହେଇଛି ପ୍ରଦୀପ
ଯେତିକି ହବାର ଥିଲା ତାଠୁ ବହୁତ ହେଇଛି
It was beyond our imagination. We thought it's 125, but we reached more than 170.
That's outstanding, yeah.
Thank you.
The record, yeah. Thank you. Sumit, you want to say anything about the registration?
I'm pretty happy with the process. It's pretty nice.
Thank you. Mr. Sumit is the person who managed the entire coupon management. So because of him, there is no food shortage.
And no coupon shortage either.
No coupon shortage either. Unless I identify this Mr. Satyakam.
Mr. Satyakam.
Mr. Satyakam.
Mr. Satyakam is there somewhere.
He is our CFO. Because of him, the accounts are all straight.
How about Pranavesh?
Oh, Pranavesh.
You want to say a few words? So your experience so far?
Well, seminars have been going well. One forum was well attended. So I think everything is going well. The morning session was really good. People attended, liked it, and we have it recorded too. And we'll post it somewhere. But I hope this encourages people to join more now in more numbers next year. Okay.
Thank you.
ଆମେ volunteers. Hello. Just so that we have some.
Sure.
Okay, good. So we will
Then catch some volunteers who are sitting over there. Let's go.
Team, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, food
How is
great.
it?
So like everybody cares about food. Food, the quality and the taste of the food great. So far I have attended few conventions and this was so far the greatest food. And I'm a vegetarian, so the vegetarian food is great. And Odia people cares about food. Okay? So it's a great convention. Everything is going great.
Thank you. Thank you. Achyuta, you want to say something about cultural? How you've done so far?
Cultural is wonderful. The crowd is amazing. And it's really a pleasure to be here. I love to come again to Osaka.
Alright, thank you. And your participation, in
yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
I like this arrangement and it's great.
Nice to hear that. Thank you.